welcome back. My guest this segment is Aman Parmar. He is a director of Isodiol International Inc, trading on the CSE under the symbol ISOL. Aman, welcome to the show.
Great to be here.
Aman, tell me about the progress that Isodiol has made since I last spoke to Troy Neiman here about, I guess it was probably 2 or 3 months ago.
Okay, yeah, I think it was early spring you spoke to him.
Yeah, and so as all cannabis companies have sort of been engulfed in this summer Muskoka sideways drift,
right,
as has Isodiol. But what's happened with the company in terms of corporate developments and value catalysts?
Absolutely. We've closed the big acquisition out of the UK. That was back in April of 2018, and that was for BSPG Laboratories, which holds and has been approved an active pharmaceutical ingredient accreditation from the MHRA, which is equivalent to their FDA essentially, has given them this approval, and that is on their CBD isolate. So that product now is approved for pharmaceutical use. We are now rolling out partnerships and working with various LPs in Canada and pharmaceutical companies globally around clinical products and developments and trials. So that division is underneath our subsidiary called ISOL Labs. We'll kind of have more news and sort of updates on as we head into the fall. But that was a major catalyst for us. It was an acquisition that cost us about $50 million US total in stock and cash. So as we move forward, that will be a valuable asset that we develop. But beyond that, our Q1 numbers will be coming out in the next 10 to 14 days here, end of August. And we've seen good progress and growth in the company's revenues and more importantly, the bottom line. One of the main, I guess, if you look at our financial numbers from the year end, was a high number of fees and finder's fees, advisory fees that we paid out on all of our acquisitions from our last fiscal year. All of that has obviously now come into play, and we're now building those different divisions and seeing good sort of profitability come out from those various acquisitions.
Wow, that's great. And so, again, what is the main business of Isodiol?
It's more into the manufacturing and distribution of high-quality CBD products. So if you look at Isodiol, there's 2 main pillars. There's this drug development, this pharmaceutical division that we acquired through the acquisition of BSPG that we'll develop as we head into the next 6, 8, 12, 18 months. And the core business of Isodiol is the manufacturing and distribution of CBD. We have over 100 SKUs in our portfolio, distribution all through the US. We've recently expanded through Latin America and parts of Europe, which will provide updates as we head into the fall.
Wow. So CBD is generally legal everywhere? Or?
It is still in the gray market.
Oh, it is.
In the UK, the rules are a bit different than the US and Canada, where you can actually label CBD on the packaging, and so it's a bit more lenient as far as what you could do on a marketing side. But we're seeing a lot of progress in the US on the hemp and the farm bill, which we're expecting updates on early September, mid-September-ish. And then obviously Canada has their own set of rules, which are going to be coming into play as things move towards recreational. But it's still relatively in that sort of in-between market at this point.
Yeah. You're signing deals with all kinds of different companies, so I guess that companies are finding that licensing a component of the manufacturing process for their products is better than growing it themselves? Is that what this is?
I think we're starting to see a lot of the LPs or players in the space not want to be farmers. I think we have the farmers in place. We have genetics. We have certain strains that we want to grow for the quality of CBD that we want to manufacture, and we have the farmers growing it, and we have those agreements in place. So for us, we don't want to be in cultivation. We have great relationships globally with farmers, and we're able to source our product from various groups globally.
Sure.
And we're using that to produce our CBD. Okay,
so where do you get most of your CBD?
So we have sources in the US, we have sources through the UK and Europe, and also China as well. We signed a deal with the Kwakatoos First Nations out of Saskatchewan earlier this year. So as we develop our Canadian market, we'll definitely be able to utilize that relationship as well.
And so is it generally true that the CBD generally comes from the hemp plant that does not contain much THC?
So we do say that our product is THC free, and as we test through the various protocols, that is a true statement. So we say our product is THC free.
And it's interesting, but I'm reading a book right now that is all about the therapeutic benefits of CBD. And this this substance
Right.
apparently has applications from everything from tumors to like skin diseases to
Right.
to like hair follicle health. It's just incredible.
And without making any claims at this point, you know, GW in the U.S. came out with Epidiolex, which is the first true drug in the CBD space. But you're seeing companies globally doing incredible work with CBD. And no, you're right. Everything from stress to anxiety to you know, there's numerous indications that it works in favor of. Are you taking it yourself? Are you on the CBD?
I'm not right now
Okay.
because but last week I was doing it every day.
Okay.
Just to experience the physical manifestations, what happens when you
Sure.
just do CBD. And
Right.
I was really shocked to learn that there is a, you know, very tangible physical effect where
Sure.
your energy level is just on, you feel super bright and
Right.
like I felt sparkly.
You know, for the average person, it'll reduce inflammation in your body. Again, so I always use my mom as sort of that person who is naive to all, but if she sees benefit, I use that as a test subject, and you know, she has knee issues, arthritis and stuff, and she loves it. Yeah. She takes the oil, takes the cream, puts on the pain patches, and she sees immediate relief, and she's seeing those sort of advantages of CBD. And so for me, and I take it daily as well, and I do notice that my body is a little bit more limber and loose. And so I'll send you some of our products. You can try it out. And
love to have it. I actually have been giving it to my dog who has this summer skin condition she gets, and so far it's nowhere near as bad as it usually is. She's not cured yet, mind you. It got up ahead of steam when I started giving her the CBD, so it's really kind of funny.
Right.
So the CBDs can generally be shipped across international borders among countries where it is legal?
So again, it is a bit of a gray area still. We're shipping our API material for pharmaceutical purposes, so we're shipping it from the UK. We have about 6 or 7 relationships with LPs in Canada now for R&D purposes. So we're shipping it through the dealer's licensed facilities in Canada for R&D. Most of the product in the US is manufactured in the US and then shipped within the country. And then for the stuff in the UK facility, it's used within the country. So at this point, it's still a gray area of crossing state or country lines, but hopefully that changes as things move forward. I mean, WADA coming out last year, the World Anti-Doping Agency, and taking CBD off their banned substance list allowed Olympic athletes and allowed international amateur athletes to start taking CBD in their training. So you'll start seeing more of the major sports leagues follow that in the short term.
Really? Wow, it makes me want to do some right now. So then what's the growth sort of trajectory look like for Isodiol going out, say, 6, 12, 20, 24 months?
Great question. I think it's to continue improving bottom line profitability, getting into more mainstream distribution within the U.S. I think you're going to see, with the hemp and the farm bill, as we expect to be approved here in the next 60 days, I think you're going to see those opportunities to start distributing through the GNCs and the Walmarts within the U.S. at least. And obviously within the UK, there's a massive opportunity for unsaturated market for the most part to get in there and really establish a foothold. So that whole distribution side of it, I think, will really start to scale up, getting that mainstream, getting Middle America engaged. We signed a deal with Cafe Ireland last quarter where we're collaborating and partnering with her on a lot of her market and her network within the U.S. and she's got phenomenal reach within Europe as well. So that should be a good relationship for us moving forward. And then obviously on the pharmaceutical side is continuing to strengthen those partnerships with international pharma companies. Right.
Do you see large pharmaceutical companies coming into the cannabis sector more broadly? From where you sit in the industry, does Isodiol have those relationships, get a sense that they're building?
I think you're starting to have those conversations for sure. Internally, we're starting to get engagement from those types of companies, so we are seeing that progression. I think as regulation changes, they'll be more vocal about their overall acceptance of the sector. So for sure that is changing. Big alcohol has already made some moves into the cannabis space, and I think the pharmaceutical companies are next.
And what is the perception or the expectation from Isodiol's point of view of what is going to happen in terms of federal deprohibition in the U.S.?
I think we're going to see some positive results coming out of the U.S. when it comes to the CBD space.
So John Boehner's tabling of that legislation, is that it's hard for us to sort of evaluate that from a Canadian perspective and say, well, shouldn't that mean that it's about to become legal?
Right.
But apparently that's not the case, because there's no guarantee anything's going to happen with that.
I agree with that, and more important, I think Mitch McConnell's, what he's going through on the hemp side is more in line with what we're trying to achieve. Being focused on the CBD space, I think that hemp in the Farm Bill is a real catalyst for us in the U.S.
Well, okay, well that's great, Aman. We're going to leave it there for now. We'll come back to you in a quarter's time and see how you're doing. Thanks
Perfect.
for joining me today.
Awesome. Thank you so much.